you please say your name and say something about yourself?
Hi, my name is David, and when I grow up, I want to be a doctor.
My name's Sarah and I'm a bad driver.
Hi, my name is Rika and my favorite subject is math.
Hopefully, you picked up that these are some stereotypes surrounding the Asian population.
Hi, my name is David, and when I grow up, I want to be a graphic designer.
My name's Sarah and I'm actually a pretty okay driver.
Hi, my name is Rika and my favorite subject is actually dance.
Regardless of whether or not these stereotypes are true or not, they connect to a problem known as anti-Asian hate. Maybe you have watched a movie with offensive Asian stereotypes or culture inaccurately represented. Through such movies, many people have formed conceptions about Asians, which in many cases are misinformed. Such misconceptions can lead to explicit actions made against Asians, including calling an Asian a derogatory term, or implicit actions, which includes the usage of microaggressions. We interviewed Vivian from the National Association of Asian American Professionals, where she explains what microaggressions are.
Microaggressions usually come from unconscious bias, and a lot of the times that happens because we may be looking for somebody to blame in a circumstance that we cannot really control. And some of those actions, for example, in regards to the pandemic, is somebody walking down the street and you're walking down the street towards them, and that person might normally not have any aversion towards Asians, but because of the pandemic and because of a lot of the news that has been going on and a lot of the misnomer of the Chinese virus, they may perhaps end up walking across to the other side of the street just to avoid you because you're Asian, right? But they may have Asian friends themselves. A lot of that does have to do with the rhetoric that is spread online or on television. You can look at the previous American president. Their politics does affect Canada quite a lot. Having COVID-19 being termed as the Chinese virus definitely doesn't help.
The COVID pandemic has shone a spotlight on the anti-Asian rhetoric in Canada. In Vancouver alone, anti-Asian hate crimes increased over 700% in 2020 compared to the previous year. People in our own school community have fallen victim to anti-Asian hate.
I guess the word that comes to mind when we talk about racism against Chinese people is the word chink. And I've definitely been called that multiple times, like most recently over the summer, just driving along, and whether it's, a simple mistake or a miscommunication with another driver, for someone to blatantly and aggressively call me names is something that always throws me off. I think that right now, due to COVID-19, with everybody wearing face masks, I think maybe people who are really racist feel less likely like they're going to get caught if they are violent, if they are racist. It's very hard for police to catch people when they are wearing the face mask. So I think that's why it's so much more scarier nowadays.
Anti-Asian hate crimes are extremely prevalent during these difficult times. However, it should be noted that this issue has been around long before the pandemic. In Canada, you may have heard of the head tax placed on Chinese Canadians in the late 1800s. Komagata-maru, a rejected immigrant ship carrying hundreds of people from India, or the Japanese internment camps. In more recent years, the incident of 9/11 initiated a great amount of discrimination against many South Asian Canadians. Shruti from South Asian Americans Leading Together describes this issue.
It all began, our work was much more about convening, different organizations from across the country that served South Asian Americans. So domestic violence shelters, to immigration attorneys, to groups that just led cultural, inquiry. But what happened after 9/11 was that we saw our community members facing this level of violence that just was unprecedented, and really new to the South Asian American population. The Islamophobia that came after the attacks, I think, was made worse by the response of the government. The opening of Guantanamo Bay, as I said, like surveillance and the random checks at airports, for example. There was this way that they'd almost institutionalized or materialized the Islamophobia that we knew to be an underlying tone, and now we were seeing it occur in everyday interactions.
A relevant misconception surrounding Asian Canadians is that Asian Canadians have unlocked the Canadian dream. Because of this, anti-Asian racism is often overlooked. This issue is referred to as the model minority myth.
It describes the American dream or the Canadian dream, and that means everybody has an equal and fair chance to reach wealth and success, and that's not necessarily true, obviously, and that's why it's called a myth, because if we behave or work hard enough, we believe we will be seen as white and be treated with these equal opportunities.
Asians often lack the desire to fight misconceptions, and it often starts with the ways many Asians are raised. There is an infamous term for strict Asian parents, tiger parents.
We have a traditional upbringing as Asians, where we have very strict parents, for example. Like tiger parenting was actually a form of pride at one point, right? Where the parents are very strict, the child listens to the parents only, and they follow basically the parents' dream of what the child should be. That may have a little bit of a consequence in the sense that we do not learn how to trust our own instincts and trust the things that we should do on our own.
Strict upbringings can lead to Asian Canadians feeling pressure in their academics.
When I was in school, like in grade 10, I strived to do, grade 11 sciences and grade 11 math, and having a need to kind of move ahead, I think, was something that made my parents proud, and I think within our culture, there's always this kind of status in terms of how your children are doing, what type of marks they're getting, etc. And I think that puts a lot of pressure on kids.
To conclude, what can you do? First, stand up for yourself and your community. Next, stand up against all types of discrimination, especially if you are a bystander. Refer to the 5 Ds of bystander intervention. Distract or draw attention away from the target of harassment. Be direct if you choose to intervene in a situation. Delegate tasks to someone in a position of authority to get help. Delay or check up on the target of harassment. And document the situation, only if it is safe. Being a good bystander means that we all play a role in creating safe public spaces. This means being an ally against anti-Asian hate and standing up for other groups discriminated against.
The part of just listening to the leaders in the movement, right? When our Black allies say the police are a racist system, we know what they mean, and like believing and following that is one strategy.
Thank you to these organizations and people for helping create this video. Follow us on our Instagram at Global Awakening Project for future videos and posts. Also, check out our mural in the main hallway along with some posters displaying Asians in media.